because people can sense your energy. And so the faster your metabolism, the more you have of that energy, the more of a higher vibe you bring into the room. Also, your brain is firing on all cylinders, and so people can sense that. And so it's not just about feeling great and looking great and just being happy, it's also about your income. You don't have an eating disorder. You've just slowed down your metabolism with every dieting attempt, and that led to a higher and higher body weight set point. Whether you think you have a food addiction or a sugar addiction or bulimia or binge eating disorder or any other type of eating disorder, oftentimes it's simply due to a very slow metabolism. And the more attempts you have at dieting in your past, the more likely it is that it's just that you've slowed down your metabolism and lost so much muscle. And now, of course, you're going to have cravings. Of course, you're not going to be able to stop once you eat certain foods. And so if you want to learn how to speed up your metabolism and lower your body weight set point so that as you're leaning out, you're actually feeling more and more energetic, your brain is functioning better, you're raising your baseline dopamine, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, and I managed to lose and maintain 35 pounds. One of the ways I did that is by raising my baseline dopamine level, but also I managed to lower my body weight set point. I have a full YouTube video that goes into the details of that, so I will make sure that I link it at the end of this YouTube video. And also, I've quit my nutrition and exercise physiology professor jobs at the University of Miami, Miami-Dade College, and the American College of Sports Medicine and elsewhere, so I could focus on reaching the hundreds and thousands of clients that I've been able to help and coach into better health and well-being. All right, why are people confusing their slow metabolism for an eating disorder? That's because every time you've dieted in the past, you've lost some muscle, and then maybe you binged and rebounded and gained body fat, but you did not regain the muscle that you lost. Muscle is harder to recoup as compared to body fat, where the body immediately just goes back and fills up our fat cells. So as you slow down your metabolism, your thyroid hormones dropped, your leptin went up, and your insulin sensitivity got worse. So now you can barely tolerate any carbohydrate at all. Your digestive system is slower, so you can't even digest any foods. Any kind of fiber sits in your stomach and leads to SIBO and bloating and cramping and pain. And you're feeling hungry and tired most of the time. And the list goes on and on and on. To make things worse, the slower your metabolism, also the slower your brain function. So you have a harder time creating enough dopamine fast enough, and serotonin and acetylcholine and endorphins. And so you have a sluggish machinery in your brain, so you're constantly feeling depressed or anxious, or just having this low state of anhedonia where nothing really gets you excited or motivated, and it takes so much out of you to be productive, to be energetic, to move your body, to see friends and family. So of course, this hormonal storm and the sluggish brain is going to trigger very strong cravings for drug foods or delicious foods, and it's going to even create cravings for carbohydrates. So you're gonna be stuck in this cycle where you're binging on drug foods, and then you're gonna feel guilty because you don't feel good in your own skin, and then you're gonna diet, and as you diet, you're gonna lose more muscle, slow down your metabolism even more, which is going to wreck your hormones even more, and your digestion and your mental health, and your baseline dopamine is gonna drop, which is going to lead to another binge, and the cycle goes on and on and on. And so then some will be diagnosed with an eating disorder like binge eating disorder or bulimia because you're trying to exercise away all the extra calories, you're taking laxatives, or all kinds of really stressful relationships with foods. And so it can take over your life. You don't feel like going out anymore because nothing fits, or you're just not comfortable in how you look, and also you just don't have energy. Having a slow metabolism is an awful way to go through life. That's also going to affect your income. Usually the top earners, the people that are chasing and achieving their financial goals and their career goals, they tend to be the ones that have the most energy, that when they walk into a room, there's a certain vibe that comes along with them, because people can sense your energy. And so the faster your metabolism, the more you have of that energy, the more of a higher vibe you bring into the room. Also, your brain is firing on all cylinders, and so people can sense that. And so it's not just about feeling great and looking great and just being happy, it's also about your income. outcome. The good news is there is a solution, and you can speed up your metabolism. You just need to learn the tools of how to do that. As a matter of fact, for every extra pound of muscle that you put on your body, the textbook information tells us that we only burn an extra 6 to 10 calories per day, but clinical experience shows otherwise. For every 1 pound of muscle you put on your frame, you can actually increase your basal metabolism by around 100 calories. So if you add 10 to 20 pounds on your frame, let's say for a woman, if she's a newbie, she's adding, let's say 10 to 12 pounds in the first year of consistent training, then she can have an extra 1,200 calories per day without gaining weight. Her metabolism is going to speed up by approximately 1,200 calories. And it's not just about being able to eat more food, it's also about how you feel when you're running on a fast metabolism. Your brain is on, you are excited. When you watch a movie, you're enjoying it. When you're working on a project, it's easier to be disciplined when your brain is functioning. You can be more disciplined when you have a higher baseline dopamine, and that only happens with a faster metabolism. You could literally increase someone's metabolism by thousands of calories, depending on how hard they work at the gym and how consistent they are. Again, for every pound, you're adding an extra 100 calories. So if you want an extra 2,000 calories, you do the math. And even literally, your body temperature will rise. You will not be as cold as often. You'll naturally want to be moving around. You'll naturally feel like you can't sit for too long. You want to be doing stuff. That is how you're supposed to feel as you're getting healthier. You're not supposed to feel like you're dragging, because if you feel like you're dragging, the more you're losing weight and trying to lean out, that is an indication that you're losing muscle and you're slowing down your metabolism, which means that your body weight set point now is going higher and higher. So the moment you finish that diet, you might hang in there for a day or two and immediately you're gonna binge, and now you're gonna regain all the body fat, and now unfortunately you have higher fat and less muscle than what you started with. So now you look worse off and your metabolism is slower than at the beginning of the diet. This is why people who diet over and over again, the more times you diet, the higher and higher your body weight set point gets. It's mainly because with every dieting attempt, you're losing more and more and more muscle, and you're slowing down your metabolism more and more and more. Alrighty, how do you increase your body weight set point? My favorite, one of the top tools, is obviously building muscle with strength training. And you have to understand how to strength train. Just doing 3 or 4 sets sometimes is not even enough. We need 10 to 20 sets per week. If you're a newbie, you can get away with just 10 sets per week for every major muscle group, and that should be enough stimulus to get you to go up the weights. Basically, as you go up the weights, that is gonna track with a faster metabolism and a higher baseline dopamine and a lower body weight set point. Also, sprinting is phenomenal. The better you get at sprinting, the better your top speeds get, the lower your body weight set point. This idea that cardio is not really good because you adapt, there is some truth to that, but that's only if you're repeating the same exercise, or if you're constantly doing the same 1 mile track, let's say, in your neighborhood, and you're never really pushing in order to get faster, then yeah, of course you're gonna adapt. You're not gonna burn the same amount of calories the more times you do that. But if you want to turbocharge your hormones, boost human growth hormone and testosterone, and improve leptin sensitivity and improve insulin sensitivity, and be able to drop your body weight set point so that as you're leaning out, you're actually feeling better and more energetic and happier, then the more sprints and the better you get at sprinting, the better off you're going to feel, and most importantly, the more you're gonna maintain that new fit physique, because sprinting triggers more muscle growth. It's actually gonna help you with your resistance training program. So I'm really a big advocate for hybrid training, both strength training and cardio with progressive overload. This is why usually you're gonna get the worst results if you're doing group classes, right? If you just go to your gym and you just join those group classes where they're constantly giving you the same exact workout, is just, you're gonna adapt very quickly. And so now, just to maintain your body weight, you're forced to keep up with that level of activity because your body adapted to it. And so if you stop those group classes, you're gonna now gain weight if you keep eating the same way. So it's just a completely different way of training and looking at things. And don't get me started on Pilates. I've never seen a fit physique ever built by Pilates unless somebody has some freak genetics. Sorry to all the Pilates lovers. I know I have a lot of clients who just, it's the last thing they allow me to try to like nudge them away from. I don't know why it's so exciting for some people, or like they have that connection to Pilates. So if one of my clients is watching this, I don't mean you. Everybody else is not gonna get their physique, but you will. Okay, another big one is raising your baseline dopamine level. I always talk about this, I'm obsessed with it because it is the foundation of life. What is your baseline dopamine? As I've mentioned in countless YouTube videos before, baseline dopamine is basically how many dopamine D2 receptors you have in your brain. Because when you want to feel the amazing benefits of dopamine, this high, this energetic mood, this pleasurable feeling, this motivation, this focus, all of these powerful effects of dopamine that we need, you have to release dopamine from one brain cell and it has to attach to the receptor on the cell surface of an adjacent brain cell. So the dopamine gets released and it attaches to the D2 receptor. It's like a lock and key situation. Once you have that binding of dopamine to D2 receptor, that is when you feel amazing, right? What happens when you're not training or when you're eating lots of sugar or playing tons of video games, you release way too much dopamine in an unnatural format. And so the brain freaks out. It doesn't know for how long that stimulation is gonna last. And so to protect you from wasting away, it's because your brain is thinking this dude is doing lines and lines of coke. I don't know for how long that person is going to keep doing this. And so I need to prevent them from overstimulating themselves and not eating and not sleeping. And so to protect them, I am going to reduce the number of D2 receptors so that even if they keep doing the lines of coke, it doesn't matter. They can release all the dopamine that they want. There's not going to be enough D2 receptors for that effect to happen, so they won't be stimulated. All right, so most people have destroyed a lot of their D2 receptors. And so as you have less and less D2 receptors, your body weight set point goes up and up and up. You can actually clearly see that on brain scans where you see body weight is directly related to the number of D2 receptors in your brain. The lower the body weight, the higher the D2 receptor and vice versa. And so by learning how to increase our baseline dopamine, by learning how to increase the number of D2 receptors in our brain, we can lower our body weight set point so that we feel as if we have skinny genetics. So when we're lean, we're not dragging, we're actually lean and more energetic than the people around us. I do have a separate YouTube video on that, so I'll make sure that I post it towards the end of this video as well so that you can check it out. And then you want to eat enough protein, around 1 gram of protein per pound of target body weight. So if you weigh 300 pounds and you want to weigh, or your ideal body weight, let's say is 175 pounds, then your target goal for the day is 175 grams of protein per day. You also want to prioritize recovery because it's your fitness level that's going to really have the biggest effect on your body weight set point, right? And so if you're training every single day and with poor sleep and not recovering enough, then if you're not going up in weights, or let's say in the sprinting with the speed, then your body weight set point is stuck, right? You only lower your body weight set point as you go up in weights or you get faster. And then you really want to pay attention to the amount of calories you're eating. The less calories you eat, the body's going to adapt and it's going to conserve its energy and start running on the amount of calories that you give it. And so this is again why when I'm working with somebody, we do very close adjustments so that I know exactly when I drop their calories and then when I cycle their calories. You have to shock the body and you have to go through phases. You can't stick on a specific meal plan for weeks on end without adjustments. The body will adapt. It will know, I'm only getting this amount of calories, so let me conserve the amount of calories that I'm burning. I don't need to fidget. I don't need to be in a good mood, right? And so it's really important to shock the body in a way and do certain types of calorie cycling so that you never plateau. You can see that very clearly in this very famous study that was done on the Hadza, those hunter-gatherers. Back in 2012, a study was published in PLOS ONE, and it showed that Hadza men and women had similar daily energy expenditure to Westerners. Basically, the Hadza are walking miles and miles. They're very physically active all day long. They don't even sit. If they want to sit and rest, they will sit in a squatting position. So they're burning an insane amount of calories as compared to somebody who's working a 9 to 5 here in the United States. And so when the results of that study came out, the whole world was shocked. How could the Hadza that are moving like crazy all day long burn the same amount of calories as their 9 to 5 counterparts? And it's because of metabolic adaptation. Again, the body adapts. The body is smart. If you give it less food, it thinks that you're heading towards a famine, and so it starts to conserve and conserve and conserve its caloric output. And anything that is deemed unnecessary, like having energy, being happy and excited and fidgeting and doing all kinds of stuff like that, all that goes away. Even your digestion slows down. You start having motility issues, SIBO, candida, all kinds of stuff. stuff. We can correct that and speed up the metabolism via a process called reverse dieting. Refeeds and diet breaks help as well, but reverse dieting is kind of the big holy grail of all of that. I do have a guide on that called Super Breed Metabolism, where I explain the ins and outs of reverse dieting to speed up the metabolism. This is basically where you slowly increase the amount of calories that that person is consuming, in addition to sending a strong hormonal signal via strength training and even sprinting if you are open to that. So gradually going up in calories while also making sure we're sending a hormonal signal to the body to put on muscle and eating enough protein. Those things are going over time to train the body that there is no need to conserve energy. You start having more energy and you start feeling amazing, and you're not gonna gain body fat. That's the whole thing about reverse dieting. The whole thing about reverse dieting, we want you to have a fast metabolism while still maintaining your leanness. Again, the YouTube video where I talk about how to lower your body weight set point, which is gonna be linked towards the end of this video, is gonna be very helpful, and it's gonna give you some added tips as well to speed up the metabolism. I remember my client, Jan Brown, you can check out her testimonial on my website, drcitazaldivar.com, and then just go at the top at the tab where it says testimonials and check out her amazing success story with her reverse dieting. For the first time in her life, she finally was able to maintain a lean physique with higher calories, to the point where I got the email as we're doing the reverse dieting and speeding up her metabolism, and she was like, I can't eat any more food, like let's end the reverse dieting, thank you so much, no more sugar addiction, no more out of control behavior around food. We raised her baseline dopamine, we lowered her body weight set point, and we reverse dieted her so now she could eat tons of calories while maintaining a lean physique. And she was in her 60s. I think this was like 2 or maybe 3 years ago, so she's probably 64 right now, so it was amazing. Now, while I'm stressing the importance of lowering your body weight set point, speeding up the metabolism, this is not to say that you should be very careless around drug foods and hyper-palatable foods that stress your ability to self-regulate. I actually have a guide called 21 Days to Food Freedom that is a very helpful reset if you want to do a dopamine detox and eliminate food cravings from drug foods in the shortest period of time possible. I would recommend that you get it as part of the Skinny Set Point bundle, because the bundle is gonna give you all 7 guides of mine that cover everything you could possibly need to reset your body weight set point at a much lower body weight. And it's like 50% off if you get it as a part of the bundle, as opposed to trying to buy each and every guide individually. So it's gonna give you dopamine body, dopamine brain, monster mindset, instant dopamine, super breed metabolism, 21 days to food freedom, and monster mind. And you can find the Skinny Set Point bundle on my website at drcitazaldivar.com/shop. Also, once you speed up your metabolism, you're going to be so much better adapted at thriving in the new environment. This new environment has more calories in it. And so people who are born with skinny genetics, they're thriving. They're not wasting time trying to deal with the consequences of excess calories, because they can burn their calories very efficiently, right? I love this quote by Charles Darwin, and he says, "It is not the smartest nor the fastest of the species that survives, but rather the one that is most adaptable to change." So a calorie-dense environment is going to be here to stay for a very long time, and the members of our species that are going to thrive in this environment are the ones that are very quick to adapt. And there's no easier way to adapt to this environment than to speed up your metabolism significantly and create or activate your skinny genetics. The only difference between you and somebody who's born with a skinny genetics is that you actually have to maintain a certain amount of muscle mass, a certain amount of fitness on you, but you can feel and live life the same way as that person who was born with the skinny genetics goes through life. Gone are the days where simply looking at food makes you blow up. We can't go through life living like that. So instead of restricting further and further the types of foods that you can eat and fasting more and more and losing more and more muscle and losing more and more stamina and energy while simultaneously raising your body weight set point, let's do the opposite. Let's eat more calories, speed up our metabolism, and get leaner with more diversity and nutrition in our diets. I hope this hit home. I know a lot of my audience struggles a lot with binge eating and sugar addiction because I've talked about these topics for so long. So if you need help, make sure you check out my one-on-one coaching packages at drcitazaldivar.com/coaching. My premium packages are the ones that are probably the best because they have the unlimited email support and the meal plan and exercise adjustments, which are critical because, as I mentioned, the body likes to adapt to everything we do, and so we want to ensure it never adapts to what we're giving it. And so the adjustments are really the holy grail of coaching coaching. So check out the coaching packages, and you can use code YouTube to get 50% off all my coaching packages. The coupon expires within the next 48 hours. I hope this inspired you and motivated you to completely transform your life, your mental health, your income, your physique, everything, by doing everything that I mentioned. So if that is the case, let me know that you enjoyed this kind of topic so I can create more similar content in the future. Make sure you give this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.